Does it still make sense to be growing hydroponically in 2023? That's the subject for today's video. Before we get into it, this video is brought to you by Grow Dots. If you're looking for the easiest way to feed your high value plants, Grow Dots is it. You mix them once in the beginning of veg and they feed your plants all the way through to harvest. So find out more over at realgrowers.com. Now let's get into it. First off, when I'm thinking hydroponics, I'm thinking something like deep water culture. Deep water culture has almost no media. The plants are suspended in a little net pot, and then there's a giant air gap, and there's a little bit of water in the bottom, usually aerated, circulated water. And the growth you get when that's dialed in, a dialed in recirculating deep water culture system, you might see that it's DWC. When it's recirculating, it's RDWC. But these things will scream. It's like driving a dragster. Benefits of hydro, specifically deep water culture, you're getting explosive growth in veg and flowering, crazy white fuzzy roots like you've never seen. And if you got it dialed in, it works amazing for cranking out quality harvests. But commercially, when I look at deep water culture or hydroponics in general, it works great for things like lettuce and fast growing plant herbs. But cannabis is a 3 to 4 month harvest, and there is a lot that can go wrong in 3 to 4 months. With deep water culture, if one thing goes wrong, you can lose your whole harvest. And when I say one thing, there are air stones involved, there are air pumps involved, there are circulation pumps, nutrients. There's all these parameters that you've really got to dial in. If you dial them in and you keep them dialed, you're gonna have a big smile on your face after 4 months. But if something goes wrong, you're gonna be dealing with slimy roots and a do-over, which is no good for any of us. So deep water culture hydroponics just isn't forgiving. That's why I switched over, and that's why I like SIP buckets. SIP bucket just stands for sub-irrigated planter. You've got media, a lot of media. The big difference between deep water culture and a SIP bucket is the amount of media. I use cocoa coir, and I've got a couple gallons of cocoa coir in my container. I've got a net pot that sits in the water that allows it to wick. And the whole cocoa media, the whole inner bucket just acts as a wick. So you've got perfect moisture in the bucket. There's an air gap, the same type of air gap you would get with deep water culture, and they're sitting in a little bit of water. Because it's so little amount of water, you don't get the root rot that you would get with deep water culture. So it really is the best of both worlds. I've been using them for several years now, and I gotta give them double thumbs up on SIP buckets. The biggest advantage is having all that extra cocoa, having all that extra media that is properly aerated. There's your buffer. It's a huge buffer zone, so it makes it so much more forgiving than just using straight water in deep water culture. It's a completely different animal. Overall, hydroponics has evolved a lot, and thankfully I think the SIP buckets are overtaking all that complicated deep water culture stuff. But what do you think? Is deep water culture on its way out? Is there something better than SIP buckets for growing hydro? Let me know in the comments, and please like and subscribe. It helps grow the channel. And check out these other 2 videos that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Catch you next time.